Guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline, Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute think tank right here in Louisiana. Hey, Mr. Daniel, welcome back to Keel.
Good morning, my friends. It's good to be with you.
All right, we had protesters outside the Caddo School Board office yesterday saying our schools are not safe for the kids to return. You strongly disagree.
I sure do. There is just about nothing more important other than perhaps getting people back to work as we face right now, getting kids back to school. And we have to do it as quickly, as safely as possible. It's of utmost importance. It's worth all of our energy and time. Got to get kids back to school.
Now, there's Daniel, you know how it is right now. Everybody, there's a whole bunch of people, not everybody. There's a whole bunch of people listening to Daniel Erspamer say, wait a second, kids can't go back to school. They'll contract the virus. They'll spread the virus. It's a nightmare. It's a petri dish out there. In all seriousness, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, look, first let me be clear. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist, but I am an economist, and I am someone who likes to consume data and research. And I have looked at a number of the studies out there. I have consumed a lot of information from people a lot smarter than I am. Every piece of evidence points to the fact that kids are the very lowest risk in the world of COVID right now, both in terms of contracting or spreading the virus. Now, let me be clear. I'm not suggesting we throw caution to the wind. I'm not suggesting we be stupid about this. But it is so important. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine called her pediatrician's office yesterday, and the pre-recorded message on the pediatrician's office before you press 1 to talk to the doctor or whatever it is a message saying how important it is to do everything we can to get kids back to school.
Ooh, okay.
And listen, we have to also protect those most vulnerable. We have to have options, and this is the other part of the Pelican Institute message. This week, it's back to school week here at the Pelican Institute, and it's not only get kids back to school, but this is our moment to rethink the way we deliver education. Every child in Louisiana deserves to attend a school that fits him or her and his or her needs. Now every family deserves the opportunity.
You're doing Pelicasts on your Facebook page, focusing on education for back to school week. Who are some of the folks you're going to have on those broadcasts? And anybody can ask questions and join in, right?
Absolutely. We'd love it if you go to the Pelican Institute Facebook page. So we broadcast, and you can still watch the recording from yesterday with BESI members, our State Board of Education members, Ashley Ellis and Holly Bofi. This afternoon, I'll be talking with our Director of Policy, Education Policy, Ethan Melanson, along with American Federation for Children Regional Director Kelly Botger. And then tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., you can join in a conversation with relatively new State Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Cade Brumley.
What do you anticipate from Dr. Cade? We've had him on a couple of times talking about the beginning of this sort of the term new normal, which annoys me no end. But the fact is, what do you anticipate from Dr. Cade? Because I know you've spoken to him previous.
We sure have. We're going to ask him about the plan to reopen schools and the guidance that they've given local districts, and frankly, talk some about what's transpired over the last 5 months, and where are we in terms of that planning and innovation. We're going to talk to him about accountability. One of the big debates in the education community is there are some, mostly those who represent the grown-ups in the system, who believe we ought to throw accountability to the side. It's too hard to figure out if we're actually teaching our kids, apparently. And there are others, the Pelican Institute included in that, believe that it's too important for the kids for us to just say, well, we can't measure anything, so we're going to just hope they learn and move on. So we're going to ask Cade about that and get his perspective on what parents should do to take advantage of the choice options that we have in Louisiana right now, and how we can move forward to provide more choices to every family in the state.
Daniel, 50% plus in Caddo Parish have opted to stay home and do virtual learning. Are you hearing that number is that high across the state, and does that number worry you a bit?
It does sound a little higher. I haven't seen final data from other parishes yet. From what I'm hearing, that does seem on the high side. It doesn't worry me if, in fact, it's truly a choice parents are making. What would worry me more, and what does worry me in some areas around the state, is when kids are being essentially forced into that because we haven't done what we need to do to get the schools back open. As long as the system and our schools and our teachers who are working really hard to do everything as well as they can, as long as we can provide a digital learning option that meets the needs of families and meets the needs of kids, and we have parents and kids who are committed to continuing to learn. It's not a perfect system. Everything we know from research says kids are better off when they can get together. That's why we love things like pandemic pods and micro schools that blend a digital delivery of education with some social interaction and some engagement with other kids. We've got to find ways to get both of those. But if parents are exercising their choice to do that, I think that's exactly what they should do.